What's up, Carbon Collective? Zach Stein here, co-founder of Carbon Collective, and in this month's update, it's been tough. Climate change is here. It is here, it is in the US, and it's pretty hard to find a place that hasn't been feeling it. In the West, we've had the heat dome, which has led to major wildfires. We have the drought in the Southwest that is also leading to major fires. In the East, we have extreme rain flooding New York City in other areas and causing massive, massive damage. And it's moments like this that are here, and they're going to continue over the next decade as we work to turn the ship around. It's moments like these that it's pretty easy to get lost in feelings of despair, of saying, what can I do? I'm just one person in this fight, in these efforts against climate change, and to turn this around. And the options that are out there when you Google things like, what should I do about climate change? They can be really overwhelming. Like, here's a list of 18 things, which the first one is to bring your own bottle or mug. And it's like, that's good and that's important. But like, is that really the thing you should be focusing on? And replacing inefficient bulbs? Totally. Turning off lights? Totally. But like, that's a really hard thing to remember, and it feels small. Similarly, like, here, it's, we have contacting your representatives, learn more about carbon commissions, commute by mass transit. Like, these are all really important, but again, it feels small. It doesn't necessarily feel kind of commensurate with the problem. And so we've spent a lot of time with this question, and we wanted to put together a set of kind of 3 categories of actions of what should every single person who shows up to a climate march, what are the 3 things that every single person there should have already done? It's not remembering to turn off the lights, it's changing where your electricity comes from. Because these are the things that should run in the background of your life. Let's change the gears of how your life works, and therefore dramatically reduce the emissions that you're responsible for. So let's go through it. The first category is to decarbonize your money. And we start with investments. This is something that is very close to us at Carbon Collective. And why do this? The first is that in order to hit our climate change goals, there's a gap in renewable energy investment. And it's a really good one to fill. It's probably a really good investment and going to have outsized returns. And that there's still trillions of dollars in investment needed, while at the same time, fossil fuels are being artificially helped and buoyed by the continued investment in an industry that's dying. The more that the market turns and realizes that and accepts that in the industry, the faster that reality will come to be. And so that's what the problem that we are working to solve at Carbon Collective. We want to make it really easy and smart to switch your investments to being aligned to something that is working to solve climate change, and then have it run automatically so you don't have to worry about it. So that's investments. The other side of decarbonizing your money is where you bank. We don't always think about it, but the big banks that are out there, they are the largest funders of fossil fuel expansion. Chase is number 1, but if you work with a big bank, it is very, very likely that they are using the money that you deposit in your checking and or savings account to help fund fossil fuel expansion. It is scary. It is gross. So making sure to switch to a bank that at the very least doesn't do that. So this is what James and I use. We really like Alliant Credit Union. They are just a great credit union. They have really good rates, and they make money by loaning to their members. Is this doing active good with the money? No, but it's not doing bad with it. It's just kind of how standard banks used to work. If you do want to do active good, there are a couple of startups that have launched recently. One is Atmos. You can see that at joinatmos.com, and one is Ando. And for both, they will put your money towards solving climate change, which is, and specifically towards renewable energy, which is really, really cool. So that is on the money side. Next is, so that's number 1. Number 2 is, how do we decarbonize your mobility? Specifically your car. So when you buy a car, you generally will drive it for between 5 to 10 years. So that means that if you buy a car that is powered by gas, you're baking in 5 to 10 years of carbon emissions. And so that's why it's such a big deal. Of even if your electrical grid isn't that as clean now, it will likely get cleaner later. And you also have other opportunities of how to pay for that electricity and what type of electricity that you can get for it. And so the good news is that there are more and more electric cars coming, and that they've reached over their lifetime cost parity. They're often the cheapest form of driving a car because they require way less maintenance and the cost to fuel them is so much lower. There is still range anxiety, which is a thing. The ranges are extending, and that's getting really exciting. So if you're not fully ready to jump into buying an electric car, but you are going to be in the market, leasing an electric car could be a really good option, or at the very least, leasing the most efficient hybrid that you can get during that time. And then option number 3, what should you focus on? Is your home. If you are a homeowner, let me get my face out of here. One of the most important things that you can do is, if you're at a part of the country, which is a lot of the country, where you can get home solar, is to do it. This is a great free tool by Google. I really like it because they don't spam you at all. There's no they're not trying to necessarily make a return off of this by getting your information. And so it uses the satellite to look at your roof. And let's see, let's just find an address here. All right, let's choose this one. And they can give you the estimated savings. And what's great, let's assume that this house spends $250 a month on electricity, so they could save $50,000 over that period of time if they want to put it up front, or if they want to lease it, they could have an average annual savings of $2,000. That's a big deal with zero down, so you can save a lot of money, but then all of the activities that you're doing in your house, whether you're charging your car or filming a call like this, is going to be done with electricity that is clean or very close to it. And this is one of those things that the more solar panels that we buy, the more that we stimulate these supply chains and the faster the adoption curve goes. If you are a renter, there are some great options of places that you can buy renewable energy credits, or your utility could offer 100% renewable energy that you can purchase. That's something that I do. I pay a couple bucks more a month to buy 100% renewable energy. The final piece of decarbonizing your home is your home appliances. When you buy a home appliance, you tend to buy it for a while. You're not upgrading appliances every year. And so make this choice. When you are at the point of making a choice of a new home appliance, you want to make it really critically, because you're going to be baking in all of those emissions to it. The good news is that, like an electric car, which is just generally better than a non-electric car, induction cookstops in particular are just better. They boil water twice as fast as gas. They're much faster to clean because you don't have to get into all those little crevices where the gas comes out. And they're much safer as well. They don't necessarily heat up as much. So having children around them and stuff is safer as well. The other big thing with gas stoves is that it's increasingly being shown that burning gas in your house leads to much higher asthma rates, especially in children. So that's something that, as a parent, could give some extra incentive to do this. The other place to look in your home is your heating system. There are electric heat pumps that you can install that are much more energy efficient and will end up saving money over their lifetime compared to using a gas furnace. So when you are making that switch, you have an old furnace. And the same thing with your gas dryer, switching to electricity, and the system just all gets better the more that you can put it on solar. That is our full list. The 3 things that what should every person who's at that client rally, what should they have done to the best that they can? What should they be planning for? What should they be building towards? Is decarbonizing your money. That's something that you should not be very blocked from doing. So if you have investments and have a bank account, it's not that hard to switch. And you can do it relatively quickly. Decarbonizing your mobility, that is something that if you have a car and are looking to get a new one, really focusing on how to make it electric to the degree that you can. And then decarbonizing your home. This is much easier if you're a homeowner. If you are a renter, there are still some things that you can do, especially on the electricity side. But decarbonizing your home is your appliances and how you're heating your home. So we hope that this is helpful. We're going to be sharing a lot more about these 3. It shouldn't come as very much of a surprise. And again, that goal is, if we do this, if we can all do this, those of us that are paying close attention to climate change, that is the foundation that we can then each build what we are passionate about on top of and bring our communities into with us. So thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to see you next month.